Good morning. This is Mrs. McDonald's first live art lesson. So we are going to be making two projects today, and we are going to be using coffee filters or kitchen paper or paper towels, pipe cleaners, spray water, or I will tell you some other things you can use, and washable markers. And I do recommend that you have either a cutting board that is washable or a piece of tin foil that you can lay down, and that will help to protect the surface that you're using. Just make sure you're doing this in a place where your parent or learning coach is happy for you to be doing your work. So we're gonna take these coffee filters here, and we need 2 coffee filters. And you can see the reason that we like coffee filters is because you can really pull them. It's almost like gift paper that you can use, but it's a little bit stronger than kitchen towel, which can tear once it's wet. So we're gonna spread it out, and it's gonna crinkle up, and that's totally fine. And we're just gonna make any design that you want. So I'm going to hold my paper, and I'm just gonna start with a squiggle. And we're gonna use the same squiggle here and kind of divide it into 4 quadrants, okay? And this is for our dancer. And I'm just going to squiggle down. It's very easy, you just need to keep the paper tight. If the paper scrunches up, that's okay. You'll just have a little darker spot, and you'll see something really cool is gonna happen when we get this wet. So I'm gonna use another blue here. And again, these are washable markers, and we need them to be washable markers. Any kind of Crayola markers or anything that is a washable water-based marker is what we need here. And I'm going to add in some pink. Now you don't have to do squiggles, you can do curly cues, anything you're doing just to fill the white spots. We want very little white spaces in here. Now do you see this crinkled up? And it's just no big deal. This is a great first project to do. It's fun for every age, every grade. My own kids have been watching me do this all morning. So we're just going to fill in these white spaces. And it is good to stay within color families. So I'm staying with cool colors right now. So pinks and blues. And when you're finished and you're pretty happy with the way it looks, we're gonna take our water sprayer. Now this is just hand sanitizer that I emptied and put water in. You can also just get water and drip it with your hands like this, and it'll be little drip drops. You can even take the whole thing and just run water over it at the sink. Just know that it will drip everywhere if you do that. So we're just gonna really get this wet, because you can see as you keep wetting it, you're gonna keep making this almost like a tie-dye. It's gonna bleed really nicely. Okay, so once this is really wet, you wanna put this aside and lay it out overnight, and it will dry. If you mess with it or move it around, you're gonna change the way it looks. So just leave it alone. You cannot use a hair dryer on it because it'll just blow across the room and get color everywhere, but you can just leave it alone on the table and it will be fine. Okay, here's our second piece that we're gonna do. And this time we're gonna do a different pattern. And I wanted to show you that you can use kitchen paper or paper towels. If anything, it actually is easier to make it soak with water. So I'm just gonna do some V's to start us out. Again, you cannot make mistakes. This is a really fun project because it's really important that you understand that for art, there are no mistakes. Some of the most beautiful art in the world was a mistake by the artist, or they discovered a new technique with mistakes. And it is just no big deal. Mistakes are just spontaneous art. And it's important for you to understand that sometimes life does not go to plan. So we are going to add in yellow, and I'm just doing dots because on this kitchen paper it will really bleed together nicely. And we're gonna do like a really cool tie-dye, and it's gonna look great. And we'll do some orange. Another thing, the reason why dots are great on kitchen towel is because if you try and draw on it, it's just gonna wiggle, right? It's just gonna move around. And we only have 2 hands. Let's add some blue. Not everywhere, we'll just kind of add some cool blue spots, maybe in these sections here. Okay. So again, this is with kitchen paper, paper towel, and we're just gonna spray it again. And it is gonna, the more you spray, the more it's gonna bleed together. And with the paper towel, it will continue to bleed together. And you can just leave that to bleed together, and then as it dries, it will continue. You can see it's continuing to bleed out and to come together like tie-dye. Okay, I'm back to do one more. As you can see, I switched out my cutting board for a piece of tin foil because I'm all out of cutting boards. I have 6 of them, and they're all covered in wet coffee filters this morning. So I'm going to just go around the edge, and we're gonna make a rainbow. So I'm just gonna go all the way around the edge with purple. All around the edge. Again, doesn't need to be perfect because you know this is all going to wet and bleed. Okay, boom. And then I will do blue. We're gonna leave a little space. Okay, all the way around. Okay. Green. All the way around. Just a lovely little circle. These markers that I'm using are actually scented markers, and they all have a different smell. So it actually smells very weird and good in here. Okay. So now we'll do yellow. This one is banana and is not my favorite smell. But I used to have these markers when I was a kid, and if you were really good in class, the teacher would let you use the smelly markers, and that was a special treat for us. Okay, and then we're just gonna go here with orange. And again, this is 2 filters because it's gonna bleed down, and that way we have identical, really cute little. All right, we'll have 2 identical coffee filters to work with here. Okay, all right. And I know you remember at the very beginning where I said we do not want a bunch of white. So I'm just gonna put this light blue, do a bunch of bees in the middle, just so we don't have a big white center. Okay? And you can see none of this is perfect. There are starts and stops all over the place, and we are totally happy with it because once it bleeds together, it is gonna be just beautiful. So we're just gonna go around here and just really soak it. And you can see the colors are already bleeding together. When it gets to a point where you really love it, you can just stop. I want a little bit more lines in there. I just think it looks pretty. But the more wet you make it, the longer you'll have to wait for it to dry. And this will take overnight to dry. And I will show you what happens once it's dry. Okay, we're ready to do the next step. So first, we're gonna make our butterfly. So as you can see, these are the two, they were all stacked on top of each other. And then when I wet them and pulled them apart, then we have two pieces that are exactly the same. So that's perfect. So I'm gonna take one and I'm going to fold it in half. And we're just going to pleat it. So we're gonna fold it in half and then go up, down, up, down again. This is art, nothing has to be perfect. Turn it over, up, down, up, down. We're just gonna fold it. Boop. And let's do the next one. Down, up, down. Turn it, up, down, up, down. And then we're gonna take these guys and I'm actually going to flip them. So I've got, instead of putting orange on orange, I'm gonna flip them like this. And so there's a little bit of a difference in our butterfly. And we're just gonna take this lovely little pipe cleaner and we're gonna combine these two together. So we've got one, we've got the other, and we're just going to combine them together like this. And we'll do one more. Okay. And then we'll flip around. Okay, we've got our little antenna. Boop. Here we go. Give them a little personality because nothing in nature is perfect. Here we go. And we'll just turn him like this and open up our beautiful tie-dyed coffee filters. Look at these, gorgeous. We'll open up this guy over here. Here we go, over here. And we've got our little butterfly. And you can just keep playing with it until it's exactly the way you want it. And you can even take it back apart and fix it however you like. But I think he's very sweet. And you can even take another pipe cleaner and you can just run it around the inside like this and make a little hook. And you can hang him from a window. And he can be right in front of the window and the light can come through and be quite beautiful. So there is our butterfly. And I will show you another butterfly I made earlier with two different coffee filters rather than having them be exactly the same. And that's very pretty too. So there we go, our beautiful butterflies. Great job, guys. All right, so now let's work on our tenora dancers. So to make our tenora dancers, we're going to need a pair of scissors, a pipe cleaner split in half. I just use the scissors to cut it. Get an adult to help you, and our body. And then we've got our two beautiful dresses, okay? So since this one is a little bit crunchier, I'm gonna use this one for the bottom. So here's our one for the top. And we're just gonna split it in half here, like this, and in half again. And we're gonna make the tiniest little cut here, right on the corner, just the teeniest, barely nipping off the end, okay? Because we're gonna open it back up and it's gonna be the neck hole for our beautiful dress for our tenora dancers. And then a tiny slit here, and a tiny slit here. And we're gonna take our beautiful dancer and we are going to bend this in half, like this. So let's make sure our feet are the same distance, and here's our head. We do not want to squish our head, okay? We want to keep her nice and round. So we're just going to take it like this. And let me go grab the other piece. So we're going to take our tenor dancer, and these are her arms. So we're actually going to start down here. You can see it's really her waist, right? And we're going to bend this around a few times to bring it up to arm height. Okay? Beautiful. Okay, I think I might do it one more time. And then we'll bring this guy around all the way to the top, like a lovely caterpillar. And there she is. Look at her. She looks great. Okay? So now we're going to pretend that we are getting her dressed just like you get dressed. We're going to put her hands right above her head, and we're going to put her little dress on. So we're going to put one hand through one armhole, boop, one hand through the other armhole, there it is, that we slit earlier. We're going to squeeze her little head just a teeny bit, right through this armhole, and we're going to so carefully bring this coffee filter down. Now, if you used kitchen towel, you'll just need to trim it into a circle. Okay, and now she's got her little dress on, and she looks very lovely. Okay, and then in our other piece, we're going to take this one, and we're just going to cut it in half and half. And we're going to do a little bit of a smaller cut because this is for her little waist. And we're just going to grab her little footies and put them through here. And we'll take them right up to the waist and then bring her legs out like this, okay? So you can see it doesn't really look like a dress yet, right? So we're actually gonna pull this down like this, very gently, and squeeze it around her waist. And we're gonna take this little half of a pipe cleaner, and we're gonna bring it around and around. And this will actually make a beautiful little furry bodice to her dress. So, or his dress if it's a tenor dancer. And we'll bring this up here, and we're gonna bring her legs down and have them stand up. And then we have our beautiful little tenor dancer, and the arms can be out, they can be like this. Quite beautiful. And they can stand up if you just move their little legs around. They can stand up very nicely. Just crunch up their little dress there. Beautiful. So now we have our gorgeous tenor dancer in their lovely tiered gown. We've got our butterfly friends over here. And I wonder what you guys can make out of the rest of your coffee filters. I can't wait to see your projects this week, guys. Thank you.